Hello, and welcome back to the Heart Artistry Podcast. I am so grateful that you are here. And today we're going to be talking about scaling. So, this is actually a theme. I often have monthly themes for my sales energetics program, the Chamber. So, the month of May is all about scaling. And we're talking about scaling, there's trainings on scaling. This is a very focused environment on scaling this month. So, thought that this would be a beautiful episode to bring to the podcast as well. So, we're going to break this into a couple of sections. We're going to talk about what scaling really looks like. I'm going to give you some examples of what a scale would look like in your business because I do believe that we scale at multiple different levels. So I'm going to give you some context. I'm going to give you some examples. We're going to talk about how you know when your business is ready to scale, as well as some things that people don't always talk about when they're scaling from one-on-one into group or just making a big expansion in their business. So I am going to bring some of those things forward that I've navigated and that my clients have navigated so that by the end of this episode, you have a very well-rounded view and understanding about what scaling looks like. And you are probably in a state in your business where you are either stabilizing where you're at. So it's like a stabilization, or it's getting ready to scale, or you're in a scale right now. And again, this is not just from one-on-ones to group. This is not just from 0 to 6 figures. This is not just from multi 6 figures to 7 figures. I genuinely believe that a scale can really just be like when you are growing exponentially, and that is the focus for this season of your business. Now, I will say that that's not always the season of business that we're in. I have clients that are prepping to become moms for the first time. I have some clients that want to spend more time with their kids in the season of their life, or they're getting married, or something's going on, or it could be that you need time to grieve. You need time to just be on your own, be with your family, spend some time. Like, we are going to go through so many different seasons of business, and we're not always in a rapid scale, exponential growth period. However, that is something that we are thinking about a lot as business owners, right? But the reason that we started our business is so we have this freedom, and so we have this, beautiful flexibility and these options in terms of what we want to do in our business, what we want to focus on in this season. What are the goals? Is it scaling? Is it maintaining? Is it just keeping things where they're at? Like, these are the options that we get to decide for ourselves at every given moment, in every season, in every year. So this episode is going to be focused specifically for the people that are ready to scale. 2026, you are prepping yourself or actively scaling. Okay. So the reason that I share this before I jump into the episode is because my mastermind, Magicmind, is currently in launch. When you join by Friday, May 15th, you get access to an entire month of private Telegram with me. So this is going to be a really powerful couple of days as we move into the end of this launch, and there are going to be some beautiful updates and shifts that are coming to the mastermind as well. But if you are jumping in before the 15th, which is this Friday, you get a whole month of private Telegram with me, which is incredible. We could spend that entire month mapping out your offers, your product suite, sales strategies, social media, content, energetics, and identity. This is all the juicy stuff that I love, 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 love being able to do, especially in close proximity, because we can touch on so many different themes and topics inside your business. All right, so let's get into it. What really constitutes a scale and what can that look like, right? So when I look back in my business, it's been 6 years of being in business. I really do feel like even just going from zero to that first client was a scale in itself, right? And I'm talking more on like the energetic identity side. I believe that every single time we scale, whether it is, like the traditional scale of like going from one-on-ones into one to many, going from private coaching into groups and courses, creating a signature methodology and then, scaling your business went from zero to multi six figures. Like, yeah, these are these traditional terms of using the word scale, but I also feel like identity scale is an important thing that we get to have a conversation about here on this podcast as well, because yes, it's easy to track our revenue and we love doing that as entrepreneurs. We like knowing where our money is and that's good. I also think that there is a more unseen, invisible behind the scenes scale, which is the identity scale. And I may need to do a complete other episode on this, but what I'm referring to here is not just what you can track on paper with your revenue and your finances, right? That's going to be a big piece of your business. But the other side of your business as well is your identity, your energetics, how you see yourself, how you hold yourself. This is your self-image. This is your self-concept. This is who you are as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a coach, as a mentor. There are going to be ways in which you see yourself and the way that you think about yourself and your work that also scales as well. And for me, the way that I think about it is there is a shift in your energetics first, because this is what happens in the delusional magic realm, as I call it. This is the realm where anything is possible and you can pluck anything you want from this field. And it takes a little bit of buffer time before it shows up in the physical 3D reality. So it's kind of like if you're putting in an order, the second that you hit purchase and immediately money does leave your account. However, the package is not immediately delivered on your doorstep. It still takes at the most a day or two, right? If you've done fast shipping or 1 day shipping, it still has to take at least 24 hours, for most packages. And then at the longest, 2 to 3, even 4 weeks if you're shipping something internationally. So the way I think about it is our identity, our energetics, this is what fuels who we are. Right? This is what allows us to show up in the way that we're meant to show up. And this continues to evolve. Your identity when you first started your business and you first worked with those first couple of clients is very different than the business owner and the coach that you are today. Your identity has expanded and it has grown in capacity. I think this is one of the things that we tend to overlook sometimes because we are focused on revenue year after year. And sometimes we make ourselves wrong for when our revenue hasn't skyrocketed year after year after year, hasn't increased year after year after year the way that we see people on social media do it. My revenue hasn't always increased year after year. And so, but however, with that said, my identity, who I'm being, me as a leader, and also decisions that I've made, like retiring my signature program, shifting my product suite, getting rid of offers, creating new offers, launching a brand new membership. These are all things that I have made decisions on in a very discerning and intentional way. And it also, I'm accounting for, regardless of the income at the end of the year, who I'm being in my identity, in my leadership, as a human, as a mentor, right? And this is one of the biggest things that we really get to look at. So there might be another episode fully on this, but I felt like that's really important to open with. So typically, let's go into a typical scale. The way that people typically use the word scale is when you're going from, the way that you've always been doing things. And for us as coaches and mentors, the way that I see this primarily and what I really work on with my clients inside the mastermind is when you're going from exclusively one-on-one private coaching or a business model that is maybe just keeping you a little bit stuck, making it hard for you to have extra spacious time in your calendar, right? So let's just say someone is working with clients one on one and they're working only with clients one on one. So that means you've got, like, let's say 10 one on one clients that you are consistently meeting with week after week after week. And you are maxed out because you're meeting with all of these clients, and maybe you have support for them as well. So they're pinging you on Telegram, or maybe it's Slack, or maybe it's email, whatever it is, right? You're giving them lots of private one-on-one support, one after another, after another, after another, right? So you've got 1 hour with Katie and 1 hour with Susie and 1 hour with Patricia. Like, you are splitting your time across these 10 one-on-one clients, as an example, all right? And you know that you want to get out of this method, and maybe even the way that you're acquiring these clients. So maybe you're doing sales calls. So you not only are doing 10 hours of coaching, 1 hour per client, 10 clients, you're also doing sales calls. So let's say you have about 3, 4 sales calls every single week. So that's another half an hour to an hour of conversations. Hopefully the sales calls are not going for an hour. I can help with that. I stopped doing sales calls after about the first year in business because I was like, I don't like doing these, so I'm not going to do them. So I sell in the DMs, as many of you know. So let's just say you're doing 3 to 4 sales calls, sometimes 5 a week. And then you've got 10 one-on-one clients, and there's very little time left over for you to be creating content. You're kind of fitting it in between clients in the beginning of the day, at the end of the day. You still want to have a life outside of your business. Maybe you've got kids, right? You want to be able to make food at home. You want to be able to spend time just like with your partner on your own outside of your business, but your schedule is so booked up. And there was a time, this is the identity scale that I was just talking about. There was a time where you dreamt of this, where you were like, oh my goodness, I am so grateful because this is something I literally put down on my vision board, right? Like, this is something that I dreamt, I prayed for it, I manifested this. And so sometimes when things like that happen, where you're like, oh my gosh, this really is my dream day, and then we feel kind of guilty of like, oh, shouldn't I just be happy with where things are? Shouldn't I just be grateful? But here's the thing, is we get to be both grateful and we get to desire more at the exact same time. It's not like being grateful is excluded only to just staying where we're at. Especially as entrepreneurs, there's always going to be another mountain. There is always going to be another mountain. We're going to get to the tippiest top mountain that we've ever climbed, and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, I did it. I did it. Look at me. Look at this view. This is amazing. Wow, this is crazy. Who am I? Who is she? And then we're going to be like, all right, that mountain over there, I'm going to make it my bitch. Like, we're going to want to get over to that other higher, tippier, toppier mountain within like the next 5 minutes. And that's a beautiful part of why we're entrepreneurs. That's why we can't work a 9 to 5. It's not going to push us. It's not going to challenge us creatively. It's not going to, really like urge us towards our edges to be able to create and be the biggest versions of ourselves. That's why we've quit our 9 to 5. That's why we walked away from our 9 to 5, right? So as entrepreneurs, this is our like hunger. It's our drive. So the first thing to note is your business is here to scale at multiple different levels. You're not just going to scale one time from one-on-one to group. You are going to scale again and again and again in different seasons, in different identities, and in different eras. And sometimes you are going to scale while your business looks relatively the same, but your identity, your leadership, your team is going to scale. So there are different aspects of your business that scale, not just your revenue, not just your offers. There is team, there's back end, there's identity and energetics. There's multiple different ways, because your business isn't just about your offers. It is multiple gears that are are going, multiple wheels that are turning. Okay. So going back to this very traditional example, you've got 10 one-on-one clients, you are doing sales calls, you're maxed out, you're tired. You're like, oh my goodness, I don't have a lot of time left over for me. I don't want to stay stuck in this. I'm so grateful for my clients. I love the work I'm doing. But I know that this is going to start heading me towards feeling a bit burnt out and feeling like I'm repeating myself with multiple different clients. And I want it to feel more effortless. You want more spaciousness. You want more time. You want more passive income. You want to stack recurring revenue. You don't want to start at zero every single month and figure out how to talk about your one-on-one offers, but then your one-on-one offers, maybe you're maxed out. So you have nothing else to sell. So this is where you are ready to scale. All right. Your calendar is booked up with one-on-one work. You're repeating yourself to multiple one-on-one clients. You're like, oh my gosh, if I have to repeat this one more time. I remember that was the kind of catalyst for me. I was like, most of you know, I started as a social media coach and I taught engagement. I helped my clients grow their audiences. For a time, I also did social media management. It was a bit of a chaotic time when I first started my business and I offered everything under the sun. But one of the things I remember teaching was hashtags. I was like, if I have to explain hashtags, if I have to talk about hashtags one more time, I think I'm going to explode. And that's when I knew I wanted to shift into the deeper work, the energetics work, and more business leadership and sales. So anyway, bit of a side tangent there. But this is where you're at, right? You're like, okay, I'm working with multiple different clients. They're getting results and I'm refining my artistry. And yet I still feel really, really, really capped. So what do we do? So the beautiful thing here is you have options. I love giving my clients options. I love not having a one size fits all formula. Most of you who've been in my world know I am not the woman who will teach you a one size fits all formula. I am here to co-create with you. Everything I do in my world is very custom fit to you and your business and your lifestyle, because especially if you have got kids or maybe you're still working your 9 to 5 job, right? As you're working on going full time in your business, you don't have time for 10, 15 one-on-one clients. That's a lot, right? You literally do not have the space for that in your calendar at all. So there has to be a shift that you make. So what do we do from here? We move into from a one-on-one, one-to-one style, you're moving into a one-to-many style, which means that you are giving your clients the opportunity to work with you inside a group setting. Now, when I say group, I don't just mean group program. This can mean a membership that holds multiple people. This can be a mastermind that holds multiple people, or a mini mind for a shorter period of time. This can be a course that you add on some live coaching calls that can hold multiple people. So you've got so many different kinds of offers. And if you've learned anything from me launching a membership, group programs, one-on-one social media management, engagement, content creation, all in my first couple of months in business, which, like, when I say I was figuring things out, I was really figuring things out. It was 2020. So you've got a lot of different ways to play with this, right? So you want to start asking yourself these questions. Okay, what am I repeating with my one-on-one clients that I would love to package into a course? And maybe you've already created a course. Maybe you already have a bit of a group program that you've run either a couple of times or ongoing. The questions you still get to ask yourself is, do I like running groups in this way? Do I want to shift it into more of a course, right? And here's the thing is, you may have a group program for some time and then it'll transition into a course. And then maybe over time that course transitions into a membership. Or maybe you take down the course and you create a brand new offer in its place. So you don't know where your business is headed. Right? This is one of the big things, is like, you don't know exactly what your product suite's going to look like in 2 years. There can be something that comes to you that's like, okay, I want to create this and I've been feeling really drawn to this, and you're going to create it and you're going to launch it and you're going to sell it, like that is all going to happen in time. So all you have to focus on right now is, what do I want to create next? I've been working with my one-on-one clients. Let's say that let's say you're a spiritual coach and you've been talking about tons of different topics that have to do with spirituality. But what you really love helping people do is manifest love, right? So maybe you're spiritual and you talk about life and family and relationships and money, but what you've really enjoyed is the clients that come to you looking for support in their love life. And so you're like, okay, I really like this. I want to double down on it. And that doesn't mean that you shift your entire business to only ever talking about love. It just means that the group program is focused on love. And you can even have another program or another course that focuses on manifesting money, for example, right? Or talking about some very spiritual concepts like the universal laws, or something very specific that has to do with your client's healing journey, depending on, again, what you coach on, what you enjoy, and what you want to be known for. So let's just take the love example. That can be transitioned as into a signature methodology that you teach people inside a group program setting. And in that group program setting, you're able to work with multiple people. You're able to see where they're getting results, where some of them are not getting results. What is the common denominator? What's that golden thread that really allows you to see, okay, how are people moving through this material if I'm not holding their hand in one-on-one settings? It's very easy for clients to get results in a one-on-one setting because you constantly know where they're at. They have to talk to you. They have to show up to the calls, right? If they don't show up to the calls, they're either rescheduled or whatever your policy is for that. You know where your one-on-one clients are at. You know if something's not working and you know if something is working, right? So you have a very, very clear pulse when it comes to one-on-one clients because you're constantly talking to them. In a group, it's a little bit easier for someone to kind of shy away, not speak up as much. You can't read their mind. And so in a group program, you have to discern and determine, how do I want to serve my clients in a way that is going to get them the best results? How am I going to discern what is working for them as a group versus one-on-one? Because when you shift into a group, like when you're working with clients one-on-one, that's your client. But when you shift into group work, the client is the group, right? The group is the client. So you're looking at what is the best person to fit into this integrity of the group, especially for higher level spaces like a mastermind, right? You want to think about the integrity of the group. There might be people that you turn away that you wouldn't have turned away one-on-one, but you would turn them away because they're not actually a good fit for this group. So you have to decide, what are your standards within that? Who do you become as a group leader versus, one-on-one? You could have served multiple different clients, but now that you're shifting into a group that is specific for a specific kind of person, for a specific kind of result, you have to get clear on who that person is, as well as the messaging and the content, because the messaging is really what brings in your aligned clients. Right? So when you're moving into the scale, you can literally keep let's say you keep 2 of your 10 one-on-one clients. You want to keep working with them one-on-one. Great. What you can also do is bring up the price of your one-on-one, make it exclusive, make it high touch, right? It's already high touch, but you can make it the highest level in your product suite. It's your highest ticket. Close proximity one-on-one work, you still keep that, right? You're not necessarily getting rid of that, but it is at the very, very tippy top of your product suites. And then what you get to do is you get to focus in on the group. So let's say you transition 8 of your clients, and then maybe you also do another another public launch for your group program, and then another 3 people come in. So you've got like 11 people inside a group program. So now you're testing your signature methodology to make sure that your clients are getting results, that they are growing inside this. And let's say this group program runs as a group program for a couple of rounds. And then you're like, you know what? I would love for this to be a course with curriculum. You can record videos and have those as modules. All the things that you're repeating with your one-on-one clients, this is what you can teach inside that course, right? So you want to ask yourself, are my group one-to-many offers capable of holding, let's say I have a public launch and 10 new people come in? Is my offer capable of holding 10 more people without me having to do more work? Or would I have to bend over backwards and suddenly I have no more spaciousness because 10 people just came in? Your business scales when you're able to serve more people, and more people can trickle in more and more and more and more and more as you grow. Because of course, like if you think about it, it doesn't need to have a cap. You can have 10 people in there, and if 10 more people join, then you've got 20 people in there, and they're all going through the material on their own, self-study, and then you've got, let's say, 2 coaching calls a month where you do hot seat coaching, they raise their hands, and you coach them based on whatever it is that they want coaching, right? So that's where you can create a one-to-many model. And then let's say you run this for a couple of rounds and you notice that there are a select few, let's say 3 people who are doing real exceptionally well, that you're like, you know what? I feel like they've graduated from this. I want to keep supporting them, but I want to do it in a mastermind setting. So now you can branch off and create a mastermind. And when you create your mastermind, it's at 3 people, but then maybe you do a public launch and 3 more people come in. And now you've got 6 people in your mastermind. So now you've got one-on-ones, you've got your mastermind, and you have your group coaching / course offer. All right. So this is really what your business looks like when you are getting ready to scale. And then from here, maybe the next scale for you, maybe a year down the line, is you get rid of one-on-ones completely, or maybe you just offer them at a very, very high ticket, exclusive invite only. And maybe you have 2 masterminds, right? One for people that are in this group, and then one for people that are at this group that have really, really excelled. And then maybe you start bringing some of them on as co-coaches, and they help support you in your mid-tier course program. And so they come in and coach so that you don't have to coach. That's also another way that you scale. And then maybe another level that you scale into is you bring on 2 team members, right? Maybe someone helps you with your content, and then someone else is like a general VA, helps with your tech, your back end, things like that, right? So there's multiple different ways that your business is going to continue scaling at every single level. Now, I want to talk about some of the things that people don't necessarily share when you're thinking about scaling from one-on-one into group, and you're aiming for either 6 figures or multi-6 figures within a year. So the first one is selling group is very different than selling one-on-ones. Like, you're learning to sell multiple people in at the same time, starting at the same time, rather than one-on-ones can feel a little bit more loose, where there's not a very tight deadline, because it's not like they all need to start at the same time. You can have someone that started in November and someone who started in January, and then someone else who signed with you in February. And whenever they start, that is what allows them to work with you for the next 3 months or the next 6 months, whatever they sign up for. So they don't all need to start at the same time, but a group does, especially if you're doing cohort and it's not an evergreen program. So if everyone is starting on June 1st, then you have from now until June 1st to sell X many spots, right? So there is a different level of pressure that needs to be alchemized, because pressure either turns into stress or it turns into power. And so we have to learn as leaders, as mentors, as salespeople who are launching, how do we navigate this pressure and deadlines and selling and launching. Like, these are skills outside of being an incredible mentor that we are here to strengthen, especially when we go into selling group programs. So selling group programs, one to many courses, right? Memberships, you are bringing a group of people in typically all at once. And so, like I mentioned, the one on one person you're working with isn't the client, the group is now the client. So you have to think about what's in the best integrity for this group. If it's not in the best integrity for this group, then it has to go, right? Which means your messaging during your launch, your sales copy, your content, every time you talk about this program has to be crystal clear. It has to be so on the nail that you speak to the correct person as you're attracting people into your one to many spaces, right? These scalable offers. Another thing that people don't necessarily talk about is building out your signature methodology is not the same as working with a one-on-one client and really holding their hand through it, like I said, and hearing their every thought. You're not going to hear as much from the people in your groups, right? And you will have to continue iterating and tweaking and improving the method and the program, because one of the things that you may think is straightforward is you create the curriculum once and then that's it. But you're going to create the curriculum once and then a group of people are going to go through it. And then you're going to realize that, oh, okay, there's something that they're getting kind of stuck on. Okay, let me add an extra module to support them in that. Oh, okay, they're really overthinking the way that I taught this method. Let me talk about it in a bit of a different way and maybe give some examples and re-record this module so that that feels clearer to them. Oh my goodness. You know what? I created this module and it's been some time and there's actually a better way that I've done it. Let me redo. So you're going to have all of these different iterations because you're going to keep growing as a mentor, right? And you are going to keep looking at your clients' results and seeing what is working and what isn't working. And if something isn't working that has to do with the method, then that's our job to go in and fix it and tweak it and improve it and continue getting that feedback and tracking our clients' results and really helping them to get better results on an even faster timeline. Something else we don't always think about when we're scaling from one-on-one into group is with one-on-one clients, you don't really need to have much of a culture. It's very customizable work. You're meeting with them one-on-one. You're essentially like everything that they want support on, you're right there for them. But as a group, you create a bit of a culture, right? Where everyone is showing up in the same way. You have standards. So for example, when I open for Telegram group coaching, I say, here are the standards. Limit your voice notes to 3 to 5 minutes. If you're posting messages and if you're posting content for me to review, please make sure it's around 2 to 3 paragraphs or something like that. I have specific standards based on what we may be doing, so that people are showing up in a specific way to get the most out of the group. For my mastermind, there's a culture of peer coaching. I don't have this in any other space, but in the mastermind, you get access to a group of peers, a sisterhood that is growing alongside you. So this means that to get the best out of this space, you don't have to do this, but it's part of the culture. You meet up and co-work virtually. You connect on calls outside of the group calls. You reach out to each other and support one another and also ask each other for when you're going through a specific challenge. This is the culture I've created inside my mastermind as well. I've also created a culture of self-led leadership. The mastermind is not the space where I give hand holding. Although I am very high touch, it's very close proximity. It's an intimate group where I'm in there coaching every week, whether it's on Slack or one of our bi-weekly or like 2 times, 3 times a month coaching calls, right? So there's a lot of support from me However, my clients are still extremely self-led. They're not waiting on me to take the next step or waiting on me for tell them what to do. They're already taking action, and then they're updating me. Okay, here's what's working. Can you feel into this? Here's what I'm getting. Okay, here's what I'm feeling for this. What do you think? Okay, here's my strategy for May. I'm planning to do this and this, and it's going to lead into this offer. Any thoughts on this? Right? They're already taking action, and they're bringing me on because I am their coach. I'm in their corner, right? But they're already a very self-led person. These are the people I speak to. Like, they are conscious, they are a leader, they are here to bring their dreams, their vision into the world, right? Just like my brand name, Heart Artistry, this is their artistry. That's really what we work on inside the mastermind, is their heart's artistry. We're bringing that purpose into their work so that their clients pay them well. And they also want to learn from other people in the space. They want to learn from people that are walking alongside them in this journey of entrepreneurship. Okay, so that's where we're going to close for this episode today. Thank you so much for joining me. And this also leads me perfectly, because we're talking about the mastermind, into the last couple days of the mastermind launch. So if you jump into the mastermind, if you apply by May 15th, you will get access to an entire month of private Telegram coaching with me. So you don't have to jump in by Friday. You just get your application in by Friday. Sit with it. It takes about 10 minutes to fill it out. Pretty simple questions. It helps me to figure out exactly where you're at and how I can support you, and what would be, if this would be the best fit for you, is being inside this mastermind space. I'm very intentional about the people that I let into this group because of the integrity of the group, just like I mentioned on today's episode, right? This is a very specific and curated group of incredible entrepreneurs, coaches, mentors, service professionals. And I love keeping it a very intimate, small group mastermind. So I really feel into every single application and see if this is a correct, aligned fit for you to be in this space, which means if it's not, I will let you know and I will point you elsewhere. And if I do accept you, it means I genuinely 100% wholeheartedly believe that I can support you in scaling inside this mastermind. And again, this is a very intentionally curated space. There's so much that you get to dive into here in this space, including the live calls, the Slack support. We're having an in-person live event here in the Bay Area in a couple of months that you will get to be a part of when you jump in now. I'm so excited for that. My team and I are starting to plan it and put those pieces together. So the mastermind is really where we focus on scaling, and the coaching is always very custom fit. It's always going to meet you exactly where you're at. It's always going to be specific for you in this season of your business and what you're focusing on and your lifestyle, your desires, your vision. And this is where you grow exponentially. Your identity, your leadership, your energetics, the way you view your business, the way that you see yourself as an entrepreneur. I call it your CEO identity. You strengthen an unshakable and convicted CEO identity that allows you to sell every time you sell, create exponential launches every time you launch, and create incredible results in your offers with your clients. This is where it happens. So the link is going to be in the show notes. It's also at tiffanychung.co/magicmind. You can read all about the mastermind. And if you have any questions at all, if you're wondering if this space is for you, if you're wondering about anything that you want to know about this program that you're not seeing on the page, or maybe you just want to chat about it back and forth, I love sending voice notes. Just send me a DM. on Instagram at tiffanychung.co. I am happy to support you in making the best decision for you. I have a woman that just jumped in. We just did our one-on-one kickoff call, and she is ready to move from one-on-ones. She's ready to create more passive income streams, and really building out a scalable product suite. And I'm so, so excited. She's actually here in the Bay Area as well. So I'm so excited to be able to do that with her, and have been having some really incredible conversations with you all about Magicmind. All right, I will let you all go. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning into the episode. I will catch you on the next one. And if you have any questions about jumping into the mastermind, my DMs are open. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you very soon on the podcast. Bye.